Welcome to our classroom. Get ready for another exciting class. Listen, repeat, master.
All right, let's get right into it. In this analysis, we're going to crack open one of the biggest mysteries for anyone learning English, the verbs. And we're going to reveal a simple, powerful system that's secretly running almost all of them. Have you ever felt like the verb to be is some kind of impossible puzzle with pieces that just don't fit? Or maybe you've gotten lost in endless conjugation lists. Well, you are definitely not alone. But what if I told you the solution isn't to memorize more, but to understand less?
Okay, let's dive in. For so many people, English grammar feels like total chaos. It's this endless list of tenses, rules, and even worse, exceptions to those rules. It's that frustrating feeling that no matter how much you memorize, there's always something new to trip you up.
But here's the big twist, the core idea of our whole breakdown today. What if all that apparent chaos is actually an illusion? What if underneath it all, there's an incredibly simple and logical system that governs almost every sentence in the English language?
That is exactly what we're going to do right now. We are going to crack the secret code of English sentences. Based on Professor Joseph's method, we're going to see that the fundamental structure is so much simpler than it looks.
The very first term we need to get a handle on is the VA, or auxiliary verb. Just think of this as the manager of the sentence. It's the one that carries all the important information: who is doing the action, when the action is happening, and if the sentence is negative. It does all the heavy grammatical lifting. We're always going to show this one in red. The second term is the VP, the main verb. Now, if the VA is the manager, the VP is the worker who actually does the action. It carries the meaning, the main idea: to run, to eat, to study. And we're going to mark this one in blue. So, what is the secret code? It's this incredibly simple structure: subject, followed by the red auxiliary verb, and then the blue main verb. Almost every single tense in English follows this exact same order. The structure doesn't change. And this beautifully illustrates the system in action. I have eaten. I is the subject. Have is our red VA, telling us the tense. And eaten is our blue VP, carrying the meaning of, well, eating. It's simple, it's logical, and it's repeatable. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but what about the simple present and the simple past? They don't seem to follow that rule. And you're totally right. There are two tenses that Professor Joseph calls the troublemakers because they seem to hide from the system. Now, what's really interesting on this slide is the comparison. On the left, you've got standard sentences like I am working, with the VAM right there in plain sight. On the right, with the troublemakers like I work, the VA seems to have just disappeared in the affirmative statement. It's hiding. But here's the big reveal. The moment you turn that sentence into a negative or a question, the VA that was hiding is forced to come out. In he does not work, look who's there in red, does, our auxiliary verb. This proves the system is consistent. The VA was there the whole time, just hidden. Okay, now that we understand the system, it's time to face the final boss, the verb to be. If we can make the most complicated verb in English fit into this system, then we'll have proven how powerful it really is. And the challenge is real. To be doesn't have 2 or 3 forms, it has 8 of them. Be, am, is, are, was, were, been, been. It's no wonder it confuses so many people. But using our VA and VP system, we're going to bring some order to this chaos. The first function of to be is to be the main verb, the blue VP. In I am a teacher, the meaning is to be. But here's its unique feature. It's so powerful that it also acts as its own auxiliary verb. It carries the tense and the negative all by itself, without any help. It's the only verb in the English language that can do that. Its second function is much more straightforward. In the continuous tenses, like she is reading, to be takes on its classic role as the auxiliary verb, the red VA. It manages the sentence while the main verb, reading, carries the action in blue. It fits perfectly into our base structure here, subject plus VA plus VP. And its third function is a little more advanced. In tenses like the present perfect continuous, I have been studying, the form been acts as a secondary auxiliary, a VA2. Have is the main VA, the manager. Studying is the VP, the action. And been is just there as an essential part of the structure that allows for this idea of duration.
So what does all this really mean? It means a paradigm shift. We're moving away from the need to memorize dozens of rules and into the world of understanding a single cohesive system.
So the bottom line is this. The secret to mastering English verbs isn't having an amazing memory to cram 50 different rules and all their exceptions. That's exhausting and, frankly, it's inefficient. The real secret is to understand the logic. When you look at any sentence now, you can follow 3 simple steps. First, find the auxiliary verb, that red manager. Second, see what form the blue main verb is using. And third, apply that base structure we now know. It's a method, not a memory exercise. And as Professor Joseph says, with this insight, you will see English in a much more logical and organized way. It's about gaining clarity and control and turning what was confusing into something predictable and systematic. By stopping the memorization and starting to see the system, you're not just learning a rule, you're learning how to think in English. So, the final question is, are you ready to leave the chaos behind and finally master the verbs?